Parasite, Gu, breeding longevity path, starting from the love-enamored Gu. Author, Thousand Lakes True Person. Genre, Adventure, Martial Arts, Cultivation Fantasy. Chapter 251, Consolidation of Dragon Bone, the second evolution of Dragon Elephant Gu. Cough. Alright, no more praise. Keep praising me and I'll start floating. By the way, UXI, how's the investigation of the surrounding islands going? Zhou Sui quickly steered the conversation elsewhere. He couldn't handle being showered with compliments by his own wives, as if they continued, he might not be able to control himself. After all, he knew his own aptitude and it was only average. If it weren't for the aid of the Gu Divine Bowl, he wouldn't be able to reach his current state. The coward that he was in his previous life, as an otaku, was not apt for conflict. Therefore, he's always been careful, cautious, like walking on thin ice, afraid that one misstep could ruin their good situation. In this month's time, our three major sects have sent out disciples to scout for information. We did get quite a few pieces of useful intelligence. Our current location, the Tri-Star Island Group, is actually in a remote area controlled by the Wuji Alliance. Far from Wuji Alliance's main island, Wuji Island. So, this sea territory is not very safe, you could say it's full of all sorts, a real mixed bag. Lang Yuexi said in a profound voice, relaying the information she'd managed to collect over the days. Oh, how come? Isn't this a sea territory controlled by the Wuji Alliance? How can it be unsafe? Zhou Sui frowned. This matter concerned his own life, if it were truly unsafe, then he'd have to get ready to run. After all, he'd run away before, not just once or twice. Even though there was a fourth stage spirit vein here, it couldn't compare to his own safety. Although this is indeed a sea territory ruled by the Wuji Alliance. But, the sea territory ruled by the Wuji Alliance is really too big, surpassing several billion kilometers. Such a vast sea territory, they can only manage the core areas effectively. As for the peripheral areas, they are willing but unable. We, as the peripheral members of the Wuji Alliance, basically all reside in these peripheral sea territories. These sea territories house a large number of loose cultivators, robbers, family cultivators, and small sect cultivators. Due to the lack of absolute rule, no one acknowledges anyone. Even if a robbery or killing incident were to occur and was reported to the Wuji Alliance, they wouldn't be able to manage. They would only issue a bounty if there were too many cultivators being killed, causing public outrage. Of course, the Wuji Alliance's control over us peripheral members is quite relaxed. As long as we pay enough management fees each year, they won't bother us. Lang Yuexi said in a deep voice. She knew that living in such a place, they could only rely on their own strength. Fortunately, they had 3 golden core masters, so they weren't scared of these threats. I see. Zhou Sui nodded, he now understood the situation of the Tri-Star Island Group. It was somewhat similar to when he was living in Misty Cloud City. The inner city was naturally very safe, that's where all the family cultivators resided. The outer city, on the other hand, was far less safe, rampant with loose cultivators. As for the city's outskirts, it was a lawless place. If you weren't strong enough, you simply couldn't survive there. The place where they were now living was somewhat similar to city outskirts, it was in an area where everyone fended for themselves. To protect oneself, they could only rely on their own strength. Fortunately, he was now different from before. He was already a cultivator at the late stage of foundation establishment. Together with the 3 Dao companions in the Golden Core realm, even in the chaotic sea territory, he could survive. They had no fear of being attacked by other enemies. The dominant powers in this sea territory are mainly Golden Core families. For instance, the Yu family, they have 5 Golden Core masters. They are one of the dominant forces in this sea territory. The Yu family's island is also widely famous, with the city built on it attracting many cultivators for trade. It can be considered a renowned trading city in this sea territory. Aside from the Yu family, there are also the Dai family and the Song family, and others. Their families also have 3 Golden Core masters. Lang Yuexi continued to share the information she knew. A single family with 5 Golden Cores? Isn't that a bit exaggerated? Muzii was quite astonished. After all, based on the situation at Immortal Mist Island, a Golden Core family only had 1 Golden Core master. 2 Golden Core masters were considered invincible, while 3 Golden Core masters was simply unimaginable. She never thought that the so-called Yu family would have 5 golden core masters, it was simply inconceivable. Indeed, it's quite exaggerated. But in this sea territory, it's quite a common occurrence. Because the resources here are really rich, much richer than our immortal Mist Island. Although the number of golden core masters in this sea territory is rare, it's not unheard of. The probability of achieving a golden core is several times higher than staying on immortal Mist Island. Compared to this, our immortal Mist Island is indeed a backwater. Lang Yuexi revealed a hint of lament. She finally understood why the golden core masters of immortal Mist Island wanted to leave and venture into the deep sea in search of fortune. Because resources on immortal Mist Island were indeed scarce. It couldn't compare to the prosperous islands in the Kanglan Sea. In this sea territory, foundation establishment cultivators were numerous. Golden core masters were not an uncommon sight. Only a nascent soul ancestor could become a dominant force. Why are they all golden core families? Aren't there any golden core sects? Could it be that in this sea territory, the power of the sects is weaker? Ji Binjaiho picked up on this. After all, on Immortal Mist Island, the power of the sects was much stronger than that of the families. The families couldn't match the sects. Chapter 252, Consolidation of Dragon Bone, the second evolution of Dragon Elephant Goo. However, in these seas, it is the clan forces that are the strongest, and the power of the sects has weakened. Of course, that's not the case, the power of the sects is still strong. It's just that they're not golden core sects, but nascent soul sects. The power of the nascent soul sects is supreme, ruling the endless seas and numerous islands. This has almost extinguished the living space of the golden core sects. Any bright cultivator will choose to join a nascent soul sect, not a golden core sect. And this is why the golden core families are so popular. After all, families united by lineage are incredibly cohesive and fight more fiercely in the face of danger, making their combat effectiveness very strong. If a family produces a few geniuses, they can be sent to the nascent soul sect. Zhou Sui said solemnly. These are some pieces of information he has obtained from the memories of the 3 Wu Owls. Compared to Immortal Mist Island, these seas have more golden core families, and they are also bigger. It's essentially families and clans fighting each other. The golden core sects rarely appear. I understand now. Generally speaking, in these seas, the golden core master cannot establish a sect. Only the nascent soul ancestor is eligible to establish a sect. Muziai nodded, expressing her understanding. After hearing this, Lang Yuexi was speechless, but she had to admit that it was indeed the case. If it were on Immortal Mist Island, the golden core master would be invincible and could naturally establish a sect, crushing all cultivators. A golden core master can establish a sect for 500 years, dominating a vast territory. You don't see a foundation establishment cultivator establishing a sect. Of course, in some weaker places, like the mortal world, a foundation establishment cultivator might be able to establish a sect. In short, the power of the golden core master isn't sufficient in these seas to establish a sect. Of course, aside from these threats, the biggest threat in these seas comes from deep sea beasts. The number of these beasts is many times greater than in the Cloud Mist mountain range. Once they form a beast tide, it can cause great losses to the islands, resulting in countless deaths and injuries. However, a beast tide only appears once every few decades, so we don't need to worry about it for now. Lang Yuexi continued. She simply outlined the threats that the Immortal Mist sect may face in the future. In that case, it should be okay. It's just some golden core masters. Even if the entire Yu family attacks, our Immortal Mist sect's third class, high-grade formation can easily withstand it. Even if a group of robbers attack or a beast tide arrives, we will be safe. Zhou Sui immediately felt much more at ease. He had immense confidence in his third stage high-grade formation, especially with the boost from the Array Heart Gu, he could perfectly exert the power of the third stage formation. Even if they are attacked by an early stage nascent soul cultivator, they can resist. So, there's no need to mention golden core cultivators. It can be said that no golden core master would dare to confront a third stage array master in a third stage formation. Without a doubt, this would be courting death. Dear, I would like to propose a joint venture with the King Mu sect and the Danding faction to hold a market. It can be named Immortal Mist City and located on our Water Star Island. To attract the loose cultivators in these seas to trade. After all, there are scarce resources on the Tri-Star Islands, with barely any mines. Even if we bring a lot of resources from Immortal Mist Island, we can't just eat them all. We should establish a market to make a lot of spirit stones. Lang Yuexi offered her suggestion. No problem, I'll leave this to you. Zhou Sui nodded. He doesn't have any problems with this, after all, he doesn't have the talent for business. He'll leave it to the professionals. His main task is cultivation. The best thing would be to quickly become a golden core master, thereby ensuring the safety of the three great sects. Several days later, the affairs of the Immortal Mist sect were well underway, with people handling various tasks, freeing Zhou Sui of such responsibilities. In a quiet chamber, Zhou Sui sat cross-legged on the floor, running the Insect God Sutra with nature's spiritual energy rushing from all around him, entering his body, and then transforming into individual drops of mana. The mana liquid in deep within his Danshan Qi Si was also slowly increasing. Hey! At this moment, Zhou Sui opened his eyes. After completing 108 cycles, he finally ended this cultivation session. It's undeniable that cultivating within the third class, high-grade spirit vein is rather refreshing. Over the past 5 years, he had been aboard the flying boat, only able to cultivate using spirit stones. This resulted in especially fast consumption of his spirit stones. At the same time, he did not dare to openly devour and absorb like he does now. Now that he had arrived in a place with a third stage spirit vein, he could freely absorb its energies. The mana within his body also grew incredibly fast. To be successful in core formation, one also needs to pass 3 stages. There's no doubt that I can pass the Divine Sense stage, given that my Divine Sense is now comparable to the late Golden Core stage. If my Divine Sense fails to pass the stage, then no one else can. In terms of the mana stage, there's not an issue either, as long as mana is fulfilled, I can naturally reach the level of core formation. I don't need to worry about anything. The most important stage to focus on now is the physical stage. Although my body is incredibly strong, it doesn't necessarily mean my mana is as well. If my body is not at the level of a golden core, it might be difficult to withstand the pressures of a breakthrough. In other words, I need to prioritize cultivation for my physical body. However, this is no problem because, due to the dragon elephant goo advancing to the state of second stage, the refining effect is even more amazing. If I continue refining, then these quantitative changes will produce qualitative changes. Zhou Sui squinted his eyes. In fact, he felt that with every monthly refinement by the dragon elephant goo, his physique gradually grew stronger and seemed to arrive at a certain realm. After some more time of refining, he would surely reach a whole new realm. Of course, this time is definitely a bit long. Despite this, it is worth waiting for. 5 years later. Since Zhou Sui arrived at the Tri-Star Island group, a total of 5 years had passed. During this time, he had been constantly cultivating with little regard for the outside world. Boom! At this moment, Zhou Sui once again welcomed the monthly refinement of the dragon elephant goo. A mysterious blood energy spread over his entire body, entering every part of his body. After years of refinement, it seemed as if his body had finally reached a certain limit. Thump! This strand of mysterious blood energy, like the final straw to breaking a bottleneck, easily triggered a massive transformation in Zhou Sui's body. And this time, the vast blood energy seeped into his bones. Each one of the 206 bones in his body was being refined by this mysterious blood energy at this moment. This caused every bone in his body to be invaded by a dark golden force and gradually turned into dark gold bones, emanating an aura of nobility, deep mystery, power, and antiquity. On top of each bone emerged dense, mysterious runes. It seemed as if they contained an immortal aura. Without a doubt, his bones were now refined and incredibly strong, like treasured bones, emitting a dark golden glow, similar to the material of a magic weapon. Dragon Bone. Instantaneously, Zhou Sui gained a message from the dragon elephant goo deep within his sea of consciousness. Apparently, his body had undergone a second evolution and he gained Dragon Bone. Now every single bone in his body was being refined into Dragon Bone. This triggered an unthinkable metamorphosis in his body. A terrifying aura of the dragon emanated from him, almost materialized. With a crack, the ground of the quiet room could not bear this pressure, and in a blink of an eye, it was shattered into cracks, like a spider web, spreading throughout the entire quiet room. Chapter 253, Ascension to Golden Core Body Cultivation, Ancient Power of Dragon Elephant. Could this be the Dragon Might? This power seems similar to the Golden Core Law Domain. Zhou Sui was taken aback. He felt an intangible force emerging within him, as if it was innate, as natural as instinct. It emanated from his every bone, creating a power similar to a law domain. With just a thought, he could unleash it, creating terrifying might. This was somewhat similar to the golden core law domain of a golden core master. However, it was clear that the dragon might he possessed was far more terrifying than any ordinary golden core law domain. It seemed capable of intimidating the soul. Merely by gently releasing it, he could stun his enemies into unconsciousness, and even cause substantial damage. Within several miles, all would be affected by the dragon might, suffering indiscriminate harm. So that's how it is, the so-called golden core law domain actually forms a domain-like power when the divine sense reaches a certain strength, controlling the natural spiritual energy around it. With the thought of divine sense, one can control an entire domain. Any cultivator below the golden core level who is located within this law domain can't draw upon even a thread of spiritual energy. In this way, compared to other cultivators, golden core cultivators are practically divine beings. This is a blow from a higher dimension. Even a multitude of foundation establishment cultivators combined can't defeat a golden core master. That's why the golden core masters are simply the lords of immortal Mist Island, unmatched by anyone. Of course, the case is different for third stage array masters. If an array master can use the power of formations to form a formation domain, they can naturally compete with golden core masters, and the power of the two domains would cancel each other out. Zhou Sui suddenly understood. Now he understood even more clearly what power a golden core master holds. No wonder golden core masters are so domineering. If it were a remote island, a golden core master could have already founded a sect that lasted hundreds of years. For secular dynasties, they were like land immortals, existences beyond imagination. So it turns out, I am now comparable to a golden core body cultivator. The dragon might in me is the power of the law domain that only a golden core master can possess. At that moment, Zhou Sui's eyes lit up with understanding. When his body underwent its second evolution, the bones in his body had transformed into dragon bones and his physical quality had risen more than tenfold. Now, he was comparable to a body cultivator in the early stage of golden core. Thus, it was only natural for a power like the golden core law domain to come about. Thud. The next second, Zhou Sui stood up and with a gentle punch, the air exploded, causing a sonic boom. An invisible fist intent attacked, solidifying into substance. Instantly, a large hole was blown through the wall of the quiet room, and the wind outside came rushing in. Even though the quiet room was laid out with a prohibition array, possessing powerful formation power, it was of no use. It simply couldn't withstand this terrifying punch. This punch had exceeded the speed of sound. It was terrifying beyond belief. My strength now surpasses 1 million kilograms. Zhou Sui flexed his fist, utterly astounded. Thinking of this, he grabbed a stone and gently squeezed it. To his surprise, he crushed the stone into powder with a simple pinch, as easily as if he were squeezing tofu. It was effortless. Clearly, the power in him now was too terrifying, exceeding 1 million kilograms. Every move, every action, contained immense might. Even the gentlest punch could disintegrate a person into a cloud of blood, reducing them to smoke and ashes. I easily surpassed the speed of sound. Zhou Sui disappeared from the quiet room in a flash, appearing on the open ground outside. He then lightly leaped up. Immediately, his entire body soared into the sky, reaching a height of hundreds of meters. Moreover, he arrived in an instant, moving so fast that the naked eye couldn't detect him. Now, even by merely using his physical speed, he had reached the speed of sound. In other words, he was now a humanoid monster. One should know that it's not easy to exceed the speed of sound using physical speed. If the body's strength isn't enough, it could tear apart, causing the internal organs to explode and result in death. Therefore, his current body effortlessly withstood the speed of sound. It was overwhelmingly powerful. He didn't need to worry about his body getting damaged. The first evolution gave birth to elephant skin. Now my body's skin has been further enhanced, comparable to the top-grade spirit instrument. If the evolution continues, it will be comparable to a low-grade magical treasure. By then, just relying on the defense of the body's skin alone can withstand attacks by a golden core cultivator. The second evolution produced dragon bones, which drastically increased my strength and significantly improved my physical quality. It can be said that this is a full-range enhancement, with skyrocketing combat power, comparable to a golden core body cultivator. It is rumored that some ancient monster beasts of the Foundation Establishment realm can fight against Golden Core cultivators. I am no weaker now, even stronger than those ancient monster beasts. This is the real challenge beyond my level. With a thud, Zhou Sui fell from the sky, landing on the ground and creating a huge crater. Rocks splattered everywhere, however, his body remained unharmed. He clenched his fists, feeling an unprecedented force brewing within his body. His vital blood energy was boiling like a raging inferno, burning fiercely. Ordinary spirits, if they approached his body, would likely be reduced to ashes in an instant by his vigorous vital energy. Chapter 254, Ascension to Golden Core Body Cultivation, Ancient Power of Dragon Elephant. His current combat power was so formidable that it was alarming. Even cultivators in the early stage of the Golden Core would be obliterated with one punch from him, reducing them to dust. You could say that he now resembled an incarnation of an ancient demon beast, uncompromisingly fierce and aggressive. He yearned to go challenge a Golden Core master immediately, just to test the extent of his current abilities. However, Zhou Sui was able to restrain himself. Because he knew this was definitely a urge caused by the dragon elephant bloodline within him. With the increasing dominance of dragon elephant bloodline, he was becoming more and more violent and reckless. To be honest, as Zhou Sui's body continued to strengthen, he began to understand why the ancient dragon elephants in the legends were so violent, unabashed, and warring against heaven and earth. In fact, any creature, upon mastering unrivaled power and divine abilities, along with an indestructible physique, would possess a character like that of the ancient dragon elephant. If problems could be solved with brute force, why bother using the brain? Wasn't that a pure waste of time? Stay low profile. I'm just comparable to body cultivators at the Golden Core stage, not to the nascent soul ancestor. There are countless powerful beings in this sea region. It's not the time to show off. Otherwise, if a random nascent soul ancestor showed up, they could beat you to death. Zhou Sui took a deep breath and suppressed the blood and qi in his body. This temporarily calmed the excitement within him. Otherwise, he might just fly out and pick a fight with someone. Let's check my updated body data first. With this thought, Zhou Sui activated his mental monitor and brought up his data panel. Host, Zhou Sui, Cultivation, Mid-Foundation Establishment Stage, 70% progressed, Lifespan, 45, out of 3000, years. Aptitude, 5th grade Spiritual Root, 20%. Swordsmanship, 3rd class, High grade, 99%. Rune, Mid-class of 2nd stage, 50%. 7th order formation, 3rd class, High grade, 99%. Alchemist, 3rd stage, 1%. Phantasma transformation skill, Great achievement, 20%. 5 elements alchemy technique, Grandmaster, 20%. 7 apertures spirit secret, Heart eye recognition, Heart eye perception, Heart eye linguistics, 70%. Fireball technique, Grandmaster, 99%. Wind blade art, proficient. Golden light skill, proficient. Ice frost skill, proficient. Spring wind rain skill, proficient. Lightning summoning skill, proficient. Obsession goo, 3rd class, high grade. Clone goo, 2nd class, high grade. Wine bug, 2nd class, high grade. Gold eating bug, 2nd class, high grade. Bookworm, 2nd class, high grade. Dream soul goo, 2nd class, high grade. Dragon elephant goo, 2nd class, high grade. Golden light thousand poison goo, 2nd class, high grade. Teleportation insect, 2nd class, high grade. Array heart goo, 3rd class, high grade. Object searching goo, 2nd class, high grade. As expected, my lifespan has increased and has reached 3000 years. Zhou Sui was fully satisfied. He knew that once his body advanced into the Golden Core realm, his lifespan must have risen considerably. But he didn't expect it to increase by a whole 1000 years, extending his lifespan to 3000 years. Honestly, this was an astonishing lifespan. Even for cultivators in the divinity transformation realm, they probably only had a lifespan of roughly this length, right? Yet, he was merely at the Foundation establishment stage and had such an extensive lifespan. Perhaps only those legendary immortals could compare with him. Wait, I've actually advanced to a 3rd stage alchemist. Could it be due to mastering the power of the Golden Core law domain that I've managed to advance to the 3rd stage alchemist? Zhou Sui touched his chin. Truthfully, Over these 5 years, he had been studying alchemy to raise his alchemist cultivation to the 3rd stage. Unfortunately, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't succeed. Even though his theoretical knowledge had reached the 3rd stage, he had been unable to become a 3rd stage alchemist. It seemed that he was always separated from becoming a 3rd stage alchemist by an insurmountable chasm. But now, once his body reached par with body cultivators of the golden core stage, it finally facilitated the elevation of his alchemist cultivation to the 3rd stage. I see, the difference between the 3rd stage alchemist and the 2nd stage alchemist lies in the power of law domain. At this moment, Zhou Sui's eyes twinkled with sharpness, and an enlightened look appeared on his face. If the difference between 1st stage and 2nd stage alchemists was the power of divine sense, and one couldn't become a 2nd stage alchemist without mastering divine sense, then, a 3rd stage alchemist must comprehend the power of law domain. Without understanding the power of the law domain, it was absolutely impossible to become a 3rd stage alchemist. The reason why becoming a 3rd stage alchemist was so difficult was because the production of 3rd stage pills required the utilization of law domain power. By using the law domain power to control each spiritual medicine, it would be like forming a boundary to envelop the spiritual medicine, preventing the medicinal power from evaporating. If the potency of the herbs evaporates in the pill cauldron, it would result in the failure of pill refinement. Of course, the herbs that could become 3rd-grade pills are extremely valuable. If they are refined, the potency is likely to disappear easily. Without the restraint of the law domain power, the potency of the herbs would vanish in the blink of an eye. Hence, the power of the law domain is extremely crucial. Without this force, the creation of a 3rd-grade pill is undeniably impossible. No wonder it is mentioned in the inheritance that if one does not become a golden core master, it is almost impossible to become a 3rd-grade alchemist. So, this is the reason. Zhou Sui touched his chin, having been puzzled over this matter before. Now that he has mastered the power of the law domain, he finally understood this aspect. Say, during the qi cultivation stage, if a cultivator has peculiar talents, he might possess divine sense ahead of time and advance to become a 2nd-grade alchemist. But after reaching the foundation establishment realm, it is generally impossible to possess the power of the golden core law domain ahead of time. Hence, for foundation establishment realm cultivators to become 3rd-grade alchemists is tantamount to a pipe dream. The issue is among the golden core masters, there are very few who possess genuine alchemist talent. For those endowed with the talent of alchemy, becoming a golden core master is also extremely difficult. As a result, the number of 3rd-grade alchemists in this sea area is incredibly scarce. It wouldn't be accurate to say they can be counted on one's fingers, but they are definitely quite rare. No matter which force one goes to, a 3rd-grade alchemist can surely become a distinguished guest and hold a transcendent position. If he exposes his identity as a 3rd-grade alchemist, he could probably secure a high position in the Wuji alliance immediately. However, he simply does not lack cultivation resources at the moment, and naturally would not foolishly expose his trump card. Neither does he wish to refine pills exclusively for others, acting as a mere tool for alchemy. The other abilities don't seem to have changed much. Zhou Sui continued to observe the other data on the virtual panel. Although there was a slight increase compared to before, the improvement was not particularly significant. However, this is a very normal occurrence. He had prepared for this in his heart. After all, it was just 5 years, and expecting substantial progress was unrealistic. The later the stage, the slower each of the 100 arts of cultivation progresses. If he doesn't spend time practicing diligently, it is impossible to achieve progress. In fact, there might even be a risk of backlash. Master. At this moment, Mu's eye blinked and appeared by Zhou Sui's side. After years of cultivation, she had finally stepped into the intermediate stage of the foundation realm. Ji Binjiu and Xia Jinjian had achieved the same too. As they were not lacking in cultivation resources and had the assistance of dual cultivation, their cultivation naturally progressed at a rapid pace. Although their speed of cultivation couldn't compare to his, compared to other cultivators at the foundation establishment realm, they were already remarkably fast. Their cultivation speed was no less than cultivators who possessed an upper-grade spiritual root. "Oh, what's the matter?" asked Zhou Sui curiously. He knew that Mu's had recently become the master of Array Peak and had been busy with sect matters. His other wives also shared similar circumstances. Ji Binjiu had become the master of the Sword Peak of the Immortal Mist sect, and Xia Jinjian had become the master of Array Peak. Since they were also cultivators at the foundation establishment realm with sufficient cultivation, they qualified. With the help of the bookworm, their mastery of theoretical knowledge reached perfection. Naturally, they surpassed other Foundation establishment elders of the Immortal Mist sect and became the persons in power. The sect has recently acquired 3 second-grade demon cores. We need you to help refine them into Foundation pills. Mu Zhi stated her purpose. In these 5 years, Zhou Sui had also become the strongest alchemist in the Immortal Mist sect. Even the various alchemists of the Pill Medicine Peak couldn't be compared to him. After all, his 5 elements alchemy technique had reached the Grandmaster realm. The success rate of refining Foundation pills was 100%. So when a second-grade demon core was acquired, it would be handed to Zhou Sui for refining into a Foundation pill. Of course, this wasn't much of a bother for Zhou Sui. At best, it just took a bit of his time. Furthermore, he could use this opportunity to improve his alchemist cultivation and gain some alchemy experience. He had much to gain from this. Chapter 255, The Mystery of the Golden Core Law Domain, 3rd Stage Pill Master. So many 2nd Stage Demon Cores can be found, it seems that this sea territory has a lot of them. Zhou Sui raised an eyebrow. Although the Golden Jade Lingzi in this sea territory is very rare, the Endless Sea is filled with so many more beasts than Immortal Mist Island could ever have. This results in a large number of 2nd Stage monsters. Hence, from time to time, someone is successful in hunting a 2nd Stage monster and collecting a 2nd Stage demon core. Basically, finding a Foundation pill in this sea territory is much easier than on Immortal Mist Island. As long as you have enough spirit stones, you can buy a Foundation pill. This has led to the birth of a large number of Foundation establishment cultivators within this sea territory. Indeed, a lot. Over the past few years, we've bought a considerable number of 2nd Stage demon cores. And fortunately, with your help, we've managed to produce a large number of premium Foundation pills. Not only has it given our Immortal Mist sect a group of Foundation establishment cultivators, but it has also made the name of Immortal Mist City renowned in this region. Mu Zhi expressed emotionally. Initially, not many cultivators took note when the 3 major sects established Immortal Mist City. After all, this sea territory is so vast, and there are many trading cities built. There was no need for them to visit a newly established city like Immortal Mist City. However, Immortal Mist City occasionally auctions off high-quality Foundation pills. This immediately attracts many loose cultivators and Foundation establishment cultivators. After all, the gap between a regular Foundation pill and a high-quality Foundation pill is too huge. One can only increase the probability of reaching Foundation establishment by 30%, while the other can increase it by 50%. For some older Qi cultivation stage cultivators, a high-quality Foundation pill means they can certainly establish their Foundation. A regular Foundation pill only gives them hope of achieving Foundation establishment. Any cultivator desiring Foundation establishment would want to buy a high-quality Foundation pill, as who wouldn't want to have a 100% success rate? A failure would severely damage their vital energy. Everyone wants to succeed in one attempt. However, even a 2nd Stage top-tier alchemist would not dare to claim that they could definitely produce a high-quality Foundation pill. Luck is still involved. Unlike Zhou Sui, now in the Grandmaster realm of the 5 elements alchemy technique, he can perfectly produce high-quality Foundation pills. Each time he conducts alchemy, he produces high-quality Foundation pills. It's because of this that due to the attraction of high-quality Foundation pills, many loose cultivators and family cultivators are swarming here. This has resulted in the reputation of Immortal Mist City spreading to the sea territories around. Many cultivation materials are also gathered in Immortal Mist City. Many loose cultivators also start residing in this cultivator city, making the city become more and more prosperous. It's good if it's useful. Let's go. It's a good time to test my current alchemist skills. Zhou Sui nodded. He just rose to the realm of the lower tier 3rd stage alchemist, and he wants to see what it's like to perform alchemy as a 3rd stage alchemist. Whoosh! With this thought, Zhou Sui embraced Mu Zhi's slender waist and used the teleportation insect. He instantly brought Mu Zhi to Pill Medicine Peak, where Ma Qianjun is still the peak master. He's considered a veteran of the Immortal Mist sect, following all the way from Immortal Mist Island to Water Star Island. He's loyal and devoted to his duty and has made great contributions. Elder Zhou is here. At this moment, many disciples on Pill Medicine Peak noticed Zhou Sui's arrival. All of them looked delighted because Zhou Sui is already the top alchemist of the Immortal Mist sect. His alchemy skills even surpass those of the peak master Ma Qianjun of Pill Medicine Peak. Each time Zhou Sui practices alchemy, it attracts many pill medicine peak disciples to watch. Being able to observe such high-level alchemy gives great benefits to each alchemist. Fantastic! With Elder Zhou taking action, the success of this batch of foundation pills will definitely be secured. Isn't that right? Elder Zhou has had a success rate of 100% in the previous several attempts, and moreover, every pill was a high-quality foundation pill. His alchemy skills are incredibly high. It's pretty normal. I heard that one of Elder Zhou's Dao companions is the sect leader of the Danding faction, Shen Baiqian, who is a third-stage alchemist. He must have gained many alchemy experiences from her. Even though having a good teacher helps, it's ultimately due to Elder Zhou's high talent. Being an alchemist isn't just about having a great teacher. Without talent, it would still be impossible to go too far. Indeed. Even with good teachers guiding us, it's highly unlikely that we can achieve the same level as Elder Zhou. All the alchemists admire Zhou Sui tremendously. After all, no one understands the difficulty of alchemy better than they do. Yet, for this man before their eyes, it seems as easy as eating and drinking. Such alchemy talent truly leaves people amazed. Elder Zhou, the auxiliary spiritual medicines for the foundation pills are ready. Should we start the alchemy now? Ma Yunjun, the peak master of pill medicine peak, also ran over eagerly, full of obsequiousness. Yes, let's start. Zhou Sui nodded and immediately came to the front of the pill furnace. This is the Immortal Mist Sex pill furnace. It's a top-grade spiritual artifact, extremely precious. It's countless times better than the pill furnace he previously bought. Without paying attention to the cultivators around him, Zhou Sui immediately took action. With his hands forming seals, he launched the 5 elements alchemy technique. Rumble. In an instant, the spiritual medicines were instantly refined by the power of the 5 elements. Even the second stage demon cores were the same. All impurities were expelled, leaving only the essence of the crystals. For Zhou Sui, who has reached the Grand Master level in the 5 elements alchemy technique, this step is simply a breeze. You could say he has reached a highly detailed level. Chapter 256, The Mystery of the Golden Core Law Domain, 3rd Stage Pill Master. No matter how difficult it was to peel off the impurities from the spiritual medicine, he effortlessly managed to do it. Golden Core Law Domain. At this very moment, a thought flashed through Zhou Sui's mind, prompting him to immediately activate the force of his Golden Core Law Domain. An invisible force of divine sense constructed a transparent barrier, like a clear balloon enclosing these spiritual liquids, preventing their medicinal power from dissipating. So that's it, the power of the law domain is truly mystical. Zhou Sui was filled with elation. Apparently, the function of the Golden Core Law Domain was not merely for battle or to show off, it also provided a quality enhancement for the 100 arts of cultivation. This was an indispensable technique for a 3rd stage pill master. Once the spiritual liquids were enveloped by the power of the Law Domain, their medicinal power could be perfectly preserved. No matter how they were refined, it wouldn't lessen the medicinal power of any spiritual medicine. Thus, a 3rd stage pill master could easily produce numerous pills and also high-grade, perfect pills. This was not something a 2nd stage pill master could compare with. The disparities in their levels were too vast. Boom! Operated by Zhou Sui, the spiritual liquids gradually merged into one, refined by the force of the 5 elements. It was unclear how much time had elapsed, but the numerous spiritual liquids had condensed together. Boom! The entire pill furnace slightly trembled, enveloped in a rosy light. The intense scent of pills permeated the alchemy room. All cultivators could smell this fragrant aroma, which opened up their minds and stirred their hearts. We made it, the foundation pills are finally ready. Each one is plump and perfectly round, without any impurities. These are undoubtedly high-grade foundation pills. Wait, why are there 6 high-grade foundation pills? Weren't there only supposed to be 3? The numerous pill masters gasped in astonishment, their eyes wide open in disbelief. They were shocked to see 6 high-grade foundation pills inside the pill furnace. Compared to the previous batch, there was double the quantity. 6 high-grade foundation pills. It was rumored that a 3rd stage pill master could perfectly control the medicinal power of every fragment of spiritual medicine. Hence, the number of pills produced would be more than that by other pill masters. Could it be that Elder Zhou has already become a 3rd stage pill master? No, it's impossible. This is too absurd. Only a Golden Core master can become a 3rd stage pill master. That is a law. Even though Elder Zhou is gifted, he is just at the foundation establishment realm now. It is simply impossible for him to be a third-stage pill master. Ma Yunjun, the peak master of pill medicine peak, had his pupils constrict as he took in a deep breath, looking at Zhou Sui with a stunned expression. For a while, he was lost for words. Correct. Zhou Sui cracked a small smile. Seeing 6 pills that came out, he felt incredibly content. Earlier, he had merely given it a small try, successfully using the power of the law domain for alchemy. Before acquiring the power of the law domain, when he was refining pills, he would always waste more than half of the medicinal power. Therefore, no matter how well he removed the impurities from the spiritual medicine, he could only produce 3 pills. But things were different now. By using the power of the law domain, forming a barrier, sealing each portion of spiritual liquid, he was able to contain all of its medicinal power, therein preserving almost 100% of it. As a result, the refined pills naturally surpassed the previous amount by more than half. Because of this, it was extremely easy for a third-stage pill master to make money. Even if they used the same kind of spiritual medicine, they could produce more pills, earning twice as much money. This was something a second-stage pill master could not compare with. Several hours passed. The remaining 2 second-stage demon cores were all refined by Zhou Sui into 12 high-grade foundation pills. In total, there are 18 pills. Every high-grade foundation pill in this oceanic area was priced at over 100,000 lower-grade spiritual stones. Therefore, after deducting the costs, the net profit was slightly over 1 million lower-grade spirit stones. This was the efficiency with which a pill master earned money. Without having to risk one's life outside, you just needed to refine pills at home to earn countless spirit stones. Top talents are extremely popular in any world. Nighttime. Water Spirit Island, Immortal Mist Peak Palace. Ji Binjiu, Mu Ziyi, Xia Jinjian, Lang Yuexi, and Shen Baiqian, along with Zhou Sui, were gathered together for a meal. The table was laden with a variety of delicious dishes, the aroma wafting in the air was mouth-watering. Darling, I heard that you've produced 18 high-grade foundation pills in your recent refining process. And you only used 3 foundation pills worth of spiritual medicine. Don't tell me Darling has become a third-stage pill master. Shen Baiqian curiously asked, her big bright eyes fixed on Zhou Sui. Being a third-stage, high-grade pill master, she naturally knew very well the capability of a third-stage pill master. Generally, it was considered pretty good if a second-stage pill master could produce 3 foundation pills. But now, her husband was able to produce 6 pills. This was obviously the capability of a third-stage pill master. Yes, I've indeed become a third-stage pill master. Zhou Sui replied with a small smile, not hiding anything. If it were anyone else, he would naturally not want to reveal any of his secrets. However, since they were his wives, he saw no problem in sharing such details. There was nothing to worry about if his wives learned about it. Darling is indeed marvelous. I have never heard of a foundation establishment cultivator becoming a third-stage pill master. I guess Darling is the first ever foundation establishment realm third-stage pill master in the history of Immortal Mist Island. With Shen Baiqian's eyes sparkling as she looked at Zhou Sui, her face was full of admiration and allure. If it weren't for the fact that they were still dining, she probably would have leapt onto him. Chapter 257, The Mystery of the Golden Core Law Domain, Third Stage Pill Master. The man of their family is indeed an unimaginable genius. Ahem, just a small effort. What has been the situation in Immortal Mist City recently? I hope no major problems arose. Zhou Sui waved his hand to change the subject, he wanted to know the current state of Immortal Mist City. After all, it also concerned the future of the 3 major sects. Thanks to your grace, fine foundation pills often appear in auctions. This has attracted a lot of loose cultivators and family cultivators to trade in Immortal Mist City. The number of visiting cultivators residing in Immortal Mist Sect has now exceeded 100,000. We can easily say that just the taxes alone fetch us a large amount of spirit stones each day. Indeed, establishing a trading city is a far more profitable affair. If we rely solely on pills, spirit talismans, magic artifacts, and such, it would utterly fall short of supporting the cultivators of the 3 great sections. Lang Yuexi says with a sigh. After becoming the sect master of Immortal Mist Sect, she increasingly realized how difficult it was to develop a sect. If they stayed on Immortal Mist Island, there weren't many enemies around, so they wouldn't need to worry so much. But after coming to the Wuji Alliance's territory, there were Golden Core forces everywhere, requiring constant negotiation and interaction. Almost everywhere they faced obstruction, making development far more difficult. The Immortal Mist sect is growing so rapidly, I hope this doesn't invite any trouble. Zhou Sui knitted his brows. Frankly speaking, the rapid development of Immortal Mist City may not be a good thing. After all, there's only so much of the pie in this sea territory. If Immortal Mist City seizes a part of it, then the other forces would get a smaller piece of the pie. This would inevitably lead to conflict and draw the hostility of other Golden Core forces. But this situation is unavoidable. Would they simply stop growing and yield their benefits just to avoid making enemies with other forces? That would be impossible. In the cultivation world, strife is necessary. Striving for peace through struggles, this is the best approach. Even though he is a man of Godeo, it doesn't mean he will willingly swallow any humiliation. Indeed, there has been some trouble. For instance, the Yu family, the overlord of this region. Due to our rapid growth in Immortal Mist City, the number of loose cultivators visiting the Yu family's island has significantly reduced. In essence, we've indirectly seized part of the Yu family's interests. They have expressed their dissatisfaction. They even intend to limit our sale of fine foundation pills, arguing that we shouldn't auction so many foundation pills. Other Golden Core families also more or less share the same view. However, due to the fact that three major sects have joined hands, these Golden Core families dare not explicitly fall out with us. Lang Yuexi states in a deep voice. Recently, the Immortal Mist sect, along with the Danding faction and the King Mu sect, have indeed been under pressure from other Golden Core families. After all three are foreign forces. They can't compete with the centuries-old connections these Golden Core families have. If they band together to exert pressure, things might take a turn for the worse. The three major sects might take a severe hit. They want to limit our sales of fine foundation pills. How shameless of them! This is fair business competition. If they are capable, they should make their own fine foundation pills. Mu Ziyi says derisively. The Yu family probably lacks the means. Despite having 5 Golden Core masters in their family, they don't even have a single third-stage pill master. They can't even afford to employ a third-stage pill master. At most, they only have second-stage pill masters. So, they can't possibly produce a fine foundation pill in every batch, like you can. Therefore, they naturally can't compete with us. Xia Jinjian says with a small smile. Third-stage pill masters aren't something Golden Core families can afford to employ. They are usually recruited by nascent soul forces. In that case, we need to watch out for their desperate moves. Zhou Sui squints his eyes. Clearly, Golden Core families that can survive in the cultivation world are by no means benevolent beings. If they can't win in business wars, they will definitely strike brutally and covertly. They might even resort to physical annihilation. That's the simplest method in the cultivation world. Conflicts are pervasive in these sea territories, far more intense than on Immortal Mist Island. Don't worry, my love. I have instructed the disciples of the Immortal Mist sect to be cautious and avoid being ambushed by the cultivators of the Yu family. Lang Yuexi nods. She also firmly believes they need to be cautious of these Golden Core families' attacks to prevent them from becoming desperate. I am not worried about the disciples of the Immortal Mist sect, but about all of you. If anything were to happen to any of you, it would be an irreparable loss. Without you all, even if I attain eternal life, it wouldn't mean a thing. Zhou Sui looks lovingly at his companions like Lang Yuexi and says these heartfelt words nonchalantly. It can be said that this has become his instinct now. My love. Upon hearing these words, everyone including Lang Yuexi, Ji Binjiu, Mu Ziyi, Xia Jinjian, and Shen Baiqian, feel deeply moved. Even if they hear such romantic words countless times, they never get tired of them. That's it, I am proficient in the art of cloning. I will leave a clone by your side. If anything unexpected happens, this clone will act to get you all to safety. After considering for a while, Zhou Sui decides to leave one of his clones beside his companions. After all, his clone Gu has advanced to the high-quality second stage and can generate up to 72 clones. Chapter 258, The Mystery of the Golden Core Law Domain, Third Stage Pill Master. Each of the clones inherited half of his original combat power. Given his current physical condition, which is comparable to the body cultivation of a Golden Core, even only having half of his combat power should be enough to compete with an early-stage Golden Core cultivator. This power should be capable of dealing with many threats. Moreover, each clone can perform the Phantasma transformation skill, turning into a piece of string, which can be wrapped around their hair. It is very convenient to carry in this form. Thank you, dear. Ji Binjiu and the others sweetly said. They knew that the combat power of their deer's avatar skill was formidable, far exceeding the norm. If there is a clone around at the time of crisis, it can act as an ace up their sleeve. Although they usually don't leave the Immortal Mist sect. But who knows if there might be exceptions. If they have this secret weapon, they will naturally feel a lot safer. It's getting late, let's take a bath. Zhou Sui said with a smile. Hearing this, all the ladies blushed, knowing exactly what this mischievous man intended. But being established wife and husband, they were not as shy as before about these matters. Each of them displayed their proud figures, and gracefully walked towards the hot springs of Immortal Mist Peak. They were all enjoying a moment of intimacy. Soon, the hot spring was filled with joyful noises. Meanwhile, at Yu family's island, many golden core cultivators were gathering in a mansion. Not only were there golden core masters from the Yu family, but also those from the Dai family, the Song family and other golden core masters were congregating there. It could be said that many golden core masters from golden core families nearby the Tri-Star Island group had attended this meeting. I believe you all should know why I invited you here. That is to invite you all to come together, to discuss how to resist the threat of Immortal Mist City. The speaker was the head of the Yu family, Yu Ming, an early-stage golden core cultivator. He was emanating powerful dignity, which enveloped the surroundings. Immortal Mist City? You mean the newly rising trade city? I heard that they auction off a large amount of superior foundation pills every year, attracting many loose cultivators over there. Even some family cultivators also choose to go. In just 5 years, the population of Immortal Mist City has exceeded 100,000, taking a lot of our business. The speaker was Dai Pengfei, an early-stage golden core cultivator from the Dai family. His face was also very dignified. I believe everyone is aware that the sea area is only this large. If all the loose cultivators go to Immortal Mist City, there will be no room left for us. Just in 5 years, they have attracted 100,000 cultivators to live there. What about in 10 years, or 20 years? Will there be 1 million cultivators living there? By then, there will be nobody trading in our cities, and they will inevitably become desolate. We will all starve. Yu Ming, the head of the Yu family, said through gritted teeth, evidently very angry. 5 years ago, he also knew that the Tri-Star Island group would welcome 3 big golden core sects. But he didn't take these 3 foreign sects seriously at all. They were just newcomers, far incomparable to their golden core families that had been established for hundreds of years. Who could have possibly predicted that these 3 sects would jointly create an Immortal Mist City, offering a large amount of superior foundation pills, attracting countless cultivators to trade there, creating a siphon effect. In the past 5 years, Yu family's island has lost its former glory. A large number of cultivators had gone to live in Immortal Mist City. Because the commodities in Immortal Mist City were of good quality and relatively cheap, and they also supplied superior foundation pills. Anyone who is ambitious about their cultivation path would know how to choose. Those loose cultivators are very realistic, they will follow whoever can provide offers. Immortal Mist City has indeed gone too far. Arriving in these seas, they didn't even come to pay homage to us. They want to monopolize such huge profits, isn't this akin to demanding our lives? If they don't want to give us a way to survive, we don't need to give them face either. The many golden core masters nodded in agreement. They are all members of families that have been acquainted for hundreds of years, and they stick together through thick and thin. Immortal Mist City is nothing but a foreign force. They naturally unite against outside forces. Exactly, it seems we have reached the same conclusion. Originally, I had sent them a final ultimatum, forbidding them from selling superior foundation pills. Without superior foundation pills, Immortal Mist City wouldn't be so attractive. Who would have thought that they ignored the courtesy and didn't give me face? In that case, there's no need to talk to Immortal Mist City anymore. We Golden Core families should unite and collectively impose sanctions on Immortal Mist City. Yu Ming, the head of the Yu family, said murderously. His true intentions were finally fully revealed. Summoning so many Golden Core masters here, he was trying to use the power of many Golden Core families to impose sanctions on Immortal Mist City. In doing so, they would leave Immortal Mist City with no way to survive. I wonder what deist Yu has in mind. Do you want to attack Immortal Mist City? A Golden Core Master asked, wanting to know the Yu family's next plan. Yes, of course I want to attack Immortal Mist City. I want to test the capabilities of Immortal Mist City. If they can resist, it means they are qualified to survive in this sea area. If they can't resist, we can swallow Immortal Mist City and exterminate the 3 great sections. Yu Ming, the head of the Yu family, said, standing with his hands behind him, his eyes shining with a glint of coldness. Chapter 259, The Tribulation of Advancing to Nascent Soul, Heart Demon Tribulation and Heaven Thunder Tribulation. Attack Immortal Mist City. The problem is, they are also members of the Wuji Alliance. If we were to attack them, I fear we would be acting without legitimacy. We would also be challenged by the Wuji Alliance. A Golden Core Master from the Song family said, a bit hesitating. He was not against attacking Immortal Mist City. He only feared that carrying out this mission with questionable legitimacy would easily attract criticism. After all, the Wuji Alliance did not permit its own forces to wage war on each other. This could easily plunge the Wuji Alliance into internal strife. If Wuji Alliance were provoked, they wouldn't get off easy. Don't worry, we definitely wouldn't overtly attack Immortal Mist City. In fact, we can completely pose as robbing cultivators. After all, there are countless robbing cultivators in these sea regions aboard ships. They simply can't be caught. After we annihilate Immortal Mist City, we leave. Even the Wuji Alliance wouldn't be able to know who did it. The head of the Yu family, Yu Ming, smirked. He had already thought of a method to respond. It was to pose as a robbing cultivator and then attack Immortal Mist City. This kind of thing was practically commonplace in these vast oceans and not at all surprising. Many cultivators from various clans often fell out and turned into robbing cultivators, killing other cultivators. The number of these ruthless battles was far too many to count. Even the Wuji Alliance could do nothing about such matters. Unless it aroused public anger, the Wuji Alliance would generally turn a blind eye. But Immortal Mist City was founded by 3 major sects, the Immortal Mist Sect, the King Mu Sect, and the Danding Faction. They have a total of 3 Golden Core Masters. Although they're just Golden Core female cultivators, they are rumored to have killed the Wu family's 3 prominent fighters when they first joined the Wuji Alliance. They are not to be underestimated. If we go head-to-head with them, we'll certainly face significant casualties. We must be cautious. A Golden Core Master furrowed his eyebrows, finding the Golden Core Masters of Immortal Mist City to be quite formidable. If they were careless, they could easily end up losing. After all, he still wanted to become a nascent soul ancestor. He didn't want to risk his life over a minor profit by waging war against other Golden Core Masters. If he died, his clan would likely disappear from these vast oceans. The original clan island would also be reclaimed by the Wuji Alliance. What does the Wu family's 3 prominent fighters amount to? They're nothing more than a group of robbing cultivators. The reason they've been able to survive for so long is purely because they have remarkable escape skills. If it were a real one-on-one fight, a head-on battle, they probably wouldn't be our match. More importantly, the Wu family's 3 infamous figures, however formidable they are merely 3 Golden Core cultivators. But if we combine all our Golden Core families, we have at least 10 Golden Core Masters. How could they possibly compare to the Wu family's 3 fighters? The head of the Yu family, Yu Ming, was completely disdainful. He thought that mere robbing cultivators weren't worth mentioning. They could hardly stand against the cultivator families like his. Furthermore, they had the advantage of numbers now. Eliminating Immortal Mist City would be as simple as flipping their hands. Even though he had strong contempt for the surrounding spineless lot, he took it upon himself to patiently explain the power disparity between the 2 sides. We heard that Immortal Mist City has a 3rd stage formation. If we approach Immortal Mist City, wouldn't we be walking into a trap? A Golden Core Master posed his own question. They were all individuals who would rise early for only personal gain. Even though Immortal Mist City posed a significant threat, that didn't mean they were willing to risk their lives. If it was indeed too tough to handle, it wouldn't hurt to coexist peacefully. After all, as it stood, the Yu family was incurring the greatest losses, not their families. It wasn't them who should be anxious. In fact, they could just sit back and watch the fight. If both sides stood to lose from the conflict, they could reap the benefits. A paltry 3rd stage formation is nothing. Not long ago, our Yu family received exactly 3 3rd stage prohibition breaking talismans. With these 3 3rd stage prohibition breaking talismans, breaking a 3rd stage formation shall be as easy as turning over one's hand. Yu Ming, the head of the Yu family, let out a faint smile and took out 3 talismans from his body. What? The pupils of the many Golden Core Masters contracted. They immediately noticed the third stage prohibition breaking talisman on him. They knew what a treasure such a third stage talisman was. It was said that the talisman could break any third stage formation. Once this talisman was out, it could easily break through any third stage formation. Of course, the difficulty in making this type of talisman was among the most challenging of third stage talismans. Even for a fourth stage talisman master, it was extremely difficult. The difficulty of obtaining a third stage prohibition breaking talisman was equivalent to obtaining a top tier magical object. While it was only third stage in strength, the difficulty in producing it was on par with a fourth stage talisman. They never ever thought that the Yu family actually possessed a third stage prohibition breaking talisman, which was absolutely beyond comprehension. Where did you get the third stage prohibition breaking talisman from? A golden core master was quite startled. He hadn't expected the Yu family to have such a hidden resource. Ha, ha, it was pure luck. We came across it unintentionally in a nascent soul cave dwelling belonging to our Yu family. That nascent soul ancestor was a fourth stage talisman master who happened to leave several third stage prohibition breaking talismans. Of course, a third stage prohibition breaking talisman can't destroy a third stage formation. Its function is mainly to temporarily render a third stage formation ineffective so that it can't play its role. But this is completely enough. Once there's no third stage formation, how would a mere immortal mist city be a match for us? Yu Ming, the head of the Yu family, proudly stated. Chapter 260, The Tribulations of Advancing to Nascent Soul, Heart Demon Tribulation and Heaven Thunder Tribulation. This was a grand opportunity that the Yu family had acquired, obtaining the legacy of a certain nascent soul ancestor. That's why their family had given birth to 5 golden core masters in the same era. The third stage prohibition breaking talisman was just one of the opportunities they had obtained. If that's the case, then we should join in this operation. That's right, with the third stage prohibition breaking talisman, the immortal mist city is not a big deal. So what if we kill the 3 great figures of the Wu family? We outnumber them, we can completely annihilate them. The attitudes of many golden core masters immediately shifted. Each one of them wanted to join the upcoming operation. They wouldn't help someone when they were down, but if the opportunity to kick a man when he was down presented itself, they would happily do it. This time, the Yu family had such a strong hand, it seemed like a guaranteed win. They wanted to take advantage of the situation and divide the immortal mist city. Very good, very good. Yu Ming, the family head of the Yu family, smiled slightly, feeling very satisfied. He also knew that these golden core masters were unreliable and would only fight a sure-win battle. Asking these people to risk their lives was completely impossible. However, this battle was one of sheer domination, no matter how the immortal mist city struggled, they wouldn't be able to resist. He was going to use this war to prove that the Yu family was the only overlord of this sea area. Any power trying to challenge the Yu family was destined to die. Obviously, this was also a move to frighten the surrounding forces that were becoming restless. If not, the world would begin to forget about the might of the Yu family. A few days later. Woodstar Island, King Mu Sect Main Peak, Sect Master's bedroom. Master. Lin Yazoo lazily sprawled out on Zhou Sui, her cheeks flushed red, obviously she was completely exhausted. Your cultivation progress seems very good lately, have you already achieved golden core completion? Zhou Sui, embracing this noble woman, asked curiously. During this recent period, he frequently came to Lin Yazoo's boudoir, enjoying the happiness between Dao companions. After all, Lin Yazoo was now his Dao companion, and naturally, he couldn't show favoritism, and occasionally needed to check on her. Yes. After dual cultivating with the master, my cultivation has made significant progress. The golden core cultivation power in my body is now close to golden core completion. But there's still a big gap from successfully forming the nascent soul. Lin Yazoo said excitedly. Obviously, the benefits she received from dual cultivating with Zhou Sui exceeded her expectations. Not only did her inner mana improve rapidly, but she also resolved the side effects of the King Mu longevity skill. She felt that her physical body also received the tempering of a mysterious power. Originally, her physical constitution was mediocre, and she hadn't practiced the body tempering technique. However, now, her physical constitution was gradually becoming stronger, already comparable to an average foundation establishment body cultivator. If she continued to practice this way, she might be comparable to a golden core body cultivator. No wonder Shen Baiqian was a dual cultivator of body and law, and her combat power was extremely powerful. Now she realized that it was not because this woman had a talent for body tempering. It was purely thanks to her own man. Otherwise, this woman would have already been burned to death by the Taiyan spirit fire and wouldn't be alive today. Is forming the nascent soul that difficult? Zhou Sui asked out of curiosity. Although he was still far away from forming the nascent soul, it didn't stop him from being curious about it. After all, sooner or later he would reach the nascent soul realm, so he wanted to know what it entailed. Of course it's very difficult, it's many times more difficult than forming the golden core. In this sea area, there are many golden core masters. But nascent soul ancestors are very few and countable. Even cultivators with heavenly spirit roots dare not say that they can cultivate to the nascent soul realm 100%. This is because forming the nascent soul is unimaginably difficult. Lin Yazue spoke with great emotion. Although she had great confidence in herself, she also found forming the nascent soul to be immensely challenging. If she didn't have an opportunity, she would not be able to form the nascent soul in this lifetime. Of course, now that the flaws and effects of the King Mu Longevity Palace have been resolved, her chances of successfully forming the nascent soul have increased by at least 30%. What's so difficult about it? Zhou Sui pursued further. To advance to the nascent soul realm, a cultivator who has achieved golden core completion must shatter their golden core to form the soul. If the foundation is not solid enough, this step will end in complete failure and the path of cultivation will end. Even if one succeeds, that's just the first step. Next comes the heart demon tribulation. It is said that when forming the nascent soul, countless heart demons will emerge. If one can't surpass it, they will die, with their soul devoured by the heart demons. Even if one successfully forms the nascent soul, they will face the third catastrophe, which is the heaven thunder tribulation. If their cultivation is not strong enough, if they are not adequately prepared, they will die under the heavenly tribulation. Lin Yazue said solemnly. It was these two major tribulations that had caused the number of nascent soul ancestors to be so few. Even in the abundant resources of the Kanglan Sea, nascent soul ancestors were pitifully sparse. Heart demon tribulation, heaven thunder tribulation. So advancing to the nascent soul isn't that simple. Zhou Sui sighed. Though he knew before that becoming a nascent soul ancestor was extremely difficult, he hadn't expected it to be this difficult. Every step forward would face a life and death tribulation. This was the life of cultivators, every step they took was filled with trials and tribulations as they fought against the heavens for their lives. Yes, if one can't pass, they will turn to ashes. Centuries of cultivation will be lost in an instant.